What's going on, guys? It's Greg here. Just wanted to do a quick video about how to dress in a winter environment. How you should dress. There's a certain way that you need to dress in order to stay outside for extended periods of time in the cold weather without sustaining cold injuries. A cold injury would include frostbite. Frostbite is definitely bad. You don't want to get frostbite, especially if you're outside for a long period of time and you don't have a way to re-warm yourself. You're going to end up getting gangrene, and you may end up having to have your fingers amputated. So you don't want to get frostbite. Aside from frostbite, another thing you need to worry about is hypothermia. Hypothermia is a killer. If you're outside in a cold weather environment for an extended period of time, you can get hypothermia, which is really bad. So you definitely don't want to get hypothermia. So I'm gonna go over with you guys what I wear when it's extremely cold. So basically, first thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to make sure that you have your core. You want to keep your core warm, because if your core is not warm, your body's gonna divert blood away from your extremities, from your fingers, from your nose, from your ears, from your toes. So first thing you want to do is keep your core warm. If your core is not warm, then you're going to end up getting hypothermia, and you're going to end up getting frostbite. So if you keep your core warm, your body's going to send blood out to your extremities. So it's actually kind of a common misconception and a myth that people think that, if your fingers are cold or your toes are cold, that you need to wear thicker gloves. You actually have to warm your core up. That's more important. And then your body will send blood to your extremities. So you want to keep your core warm. You want to dress in layers. Layers are critical, because if you don't dress in layers, then when you get warm, when you overheat, you're not going to be able to shed any type of layers off to keep yourself from getting wet with sweat. You don't want to get sweaty, and you don't want to get wet with sweat, because then you're going to get cold. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind. Another thing you want to think about is the type of material that you're using for your layers. You want to have material that's not going to hold moisture. You don't want cotton. You don't want to have any type of a cotton. You want to have some type of wool or synthetic materials that are not going to absorb moisture. Because what's going to happen is, with all these layers that you're wearing, at some point you're going to start to get hot. Once you start moving around, if you're hiking or trekking, whatever the situation is, you're going to start to get warm, and you're going to need to shed some layers. You're going to start sweating, basically, especially if you're outside for an extended period of time. So you're going to want to make sure that your materials that you're wearing are not going to be holding moisture, because that's going to be a problem. So you want to choose either wool or synthetic fabrics that wick moisture. Typical synthetic fabrics that wick moisture is like polypropylene. That's a common underwear that people use, and there's fleece as well. Fleece is good, and there's all types of modern fabrics out there now that people are using. But aside from that, the typical layers that you're going to want to have on you is you're going to want to have an underwear layer that's going to be able to wick moisture. So you're going to want to have like a polypropylene underwear, or some type of a synthetic or some type of a wool underwear, so it can wick moisture when you're sweating. And then you're going to want to have a warm sweater on. For me, I got this wool sweater underneath, so if I get hot, I can shed my coat, and I'll be good to go. And then your outerwear, you're going to want to have waterproof and breathable jacket and pants, because if it's snowing outside, or if there's freezing rain or ice or something like that, you're going to want to make sure that you're not absorbing that moisture on your body. So you want to have waterproof and breathable outerwear. And then you're going to want to have some protection for your face. What I'm wearing here is just a rabbit fur hat, and that keeps my head warm and my ears warm. And then I also have this wool face mask. It's a U.S. Army wool face mask And basically, I'll show you, it's basically 2 layers of wool, and it has actually like a plastic insert in between the 2 layers. And what that does is if it's very windy, the plastic insert goes over my forehead and over here. So what I can do is if I get really cold, I can cover my mouth. I can cover my mouth here. And what that's going to do is it's going to block the wind. It's going to block the wind. It's going to block the wind, if it's very windy outside. I'm going to pull this over my forehead, and it's going to keep the wind out. And it's also going to protect my nose as well. So you're going to want to have some kind of a face mask if it's extremely cold. We're talking about like below 15 or 10 degrees. You're going to want to protect your nose. You're going to want to protect your ears. And as far as your boots go, your boots, you're going to want to have an extra size larger than normal, because you're going to want to wear heavy duty, heavy thick wool socks. And if you don't get an extra size larger than your normal size, the wool socks are going to constrict your circulation, and your toes are going to go numb, and they're going to get frostbitten. So you're going to need to buy shoes specifically for the winter, and you're going to have to buy them 1 size larger than your normal size that you wear. This way you can accommodate heavy wool socks and your circulation won't be impeded. Another thing you want to look into is I like to wear 2 pairs of gloves. What I have mitts. These are waterproof mitts. These are made by Cabela's. They have the waterproof breathable lining in them, Dry Plus. And basically what I do is I normally have, these are like the wool gloves, okay, and I wear them underneath in my mitts. So, and then what I normally have is, I don't have them right now, but I have like a piece of cord, and the cord it's like a piece of just like a paracord, and I tie these together so I can hang them over my neck. So if I need to take them off for a second, I don't have to put them in my pockets every time I want to take them off to do some finer tasks. I could just hang them over my back. So you want to get yourself some mitts. Mitts are critical, because the mitts, they hold the heat in better than normal gloves do, so that's something that you want to keep an eye on. So you want to get yourself a good pair of mitts, and then you want to get yourself a thinner pair of gloves that you can wear underneath the mitts. So this way, if you need to do finer tasks, like let's say you have to start a fire, you have to operate a firearm, you have to do anything, you're not going to be able to do it with mitts. So you want to have, let's say, like a pair of wool gloves like I have now, and they're going to be like your base layer, so to speak, for your hands. And then what you're going to do is, if you need to do any fine tasks, you're going to take your mitts off, and your hands are still going to be protected. Your hands are not going to be exposed to the elements, So and then another thing that you want to consider too is, if it's an SHTF situation, you're going to want to consider some type of a camouflage. See, right now this is kind of a lighter weight outerwear, but you're going to want to have some type of a camouflage, because if you see, I stand out. Everything is white here. You could see a person walking from a long distance away if they're just wearing like a brown outerwear. If somebody's observing me, you could see me. I contrast with the snow. You can see me from a long distance. So this camouflage is very effective in the fall time or in the summertime, although it's a little too warm to wear in the summer. But this is very effective in the summertime. But in the winter time, it contrasts too much. So you're going to want to have some type of a camouflage. I'll show you what I have. So what I have here is just a snow poncho. And what I could do is I could just slip this over. I could slip this poncho over. I could carry it with me, and I could just slip it over. It's very easy to get on and easy to get off. And I can also cover my backpack with this too. All right. All right, so here I can cover myself, and now I'm a little bit better. I blend in a little bit better. I don't stand out as much, especially from a long distance, you know, because I got the white color on, so it blends in a little bit better, you know. And obviously I have other stuff. I have some pants that I can cover my pants with. I have white coveralls, and I also have white mitt covers. But for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to do a separate video about how to be stealthy, and I'm going to go over stealth techniques, winter stealth techniques that you can use to stay stealthy in the winter. I'll do that when there's kind of more of a blizzard outside, when it's a heavier snow. I'll show you guys that. I just wanted to do a quick instructional video about how to dress in the winter time. So just remember, you're going to want to layer. You're going to want to have wool or synthetic fabrics that don't hold moisture. You're going to want to have a base layer that wicks moisture away from your skin, either polypropylene or some other type of synthetic, or a merino wool. You're going to want to have a face mask if it's extremely cold, like below 20 degrees. You're going to want a face mask so you can cover your nose, you know, because you can get frostbite on your nose. So you're going to want a way to cover your nose, you know. So you're going to want to get yourself a face mask. You know, this face mask is made by the U.S. military. It's a U.S. Army face mask. So it's, you know, it's good. It's heavy duty wool, but you know, you're gonna want to have good headwear. You know, like I said, I have the wool face mask, and then I also have the rabbit fur hat that I could wear on top of this for extra warmth. So, and then for your gloves, you're going to want to make sure that you have a under layer of gloves. You're going to want to have like a wool, you know, some type of a liner glove, like a lighter glove that you could wear under your mitts. I know a lot of guys get those glow mitts now, which is like basically you could fold the mitt backwards, and you have like fingers exposed. I'm not a big fan of those, but some people like them. I don't think they're as warm as traditional mitts. And so you're going to want to have mitts, and then you're going to want to have a warm liner glove. I have, these are wool gloves. And, you know, basically this way, you know, if you need to take your mitts off and do some finer tasks, you could take your mitts off, and I have a string that I tie between them. And so this way I don't have to put them in my pocket or lay them down on the snow. I can hang them over the back of my neck and let them hang off my body. You know, so you want to do that. And your boots, you know, you're going to want to buy your boots an extra size larger so you can accommodate heavy duty wool socks. You want thick wool socks. You're going to buy one size larger than your normal size. And obviously you're going to want your boots to be waterproof, because if you're going to be walking in the snow, you know, that's going to be, you know, your feet are going to get wet. So you want to have, you know, waterproof and breathable material for your boots. And if you're going to be trekking in snow, you know, I could do a separate video on that, you know, but you're going to want some type of a traction device. You're going to either want spikes, micro spikes, you're going to want crampons, or you're going to want snowshoes, you know. I have a pair of snowshoes in the house. I'm not going to put them on right now, but you're going to want snowshoes or some type of a traction device on your feet so you don't slip, you know. Even 3 or 4 inches of snow, you can slip and fall. You can land inside of a crevice because you can't see what's underneath the snow. So you can land inside of a crevice. There could be a hole in the ground that you don't see. There could be some rocks or some kind of a thing like that. And if you don't see it because it's buried in snow, you're going to step on that and you're going to break your leg. You're going to twist your ankle. You're going to hurt yourself. So you're going to want snowshoes for that, you know, because the snowshoes, even me, I weigh I weigh 245, 250 pounds, and with my snowshoes, when there's like 2 feet of snow on the ground, I only sink like 6 inches, you know. I glide right on the top of the snow. So, you know, you definitely want to get some snowshoes if we're talking about wintertime SHTF preparation and being prepared for the winter time as far as moving and being able to move around. You know, you're going to want to be able to move around. You don't want to just be confined to your home. You know, you're going to have to patrol. You're going to have to go outside and patrol your house. If it's a WROL situation, you're going to want to go around and patrol. So you may want to have snowshoes with you, you know, depending on how deep the snow is and what the terrain is. You know, generally I put my snowshoes on once it goes above a foot of snow, then I throw my snowshoes on. You know, and underneath 12 inches I have some micro spikes. They're just like rubber. They're like, imagine like rubber, you know, you just slide them over your boot, and they just have like chain, you know, like tire chains basically, like for your car, except you put them on your shoes and they have little spikes on them, you know. So just wanted to do that quick video about how you should dress. You know, if you're not dressed appropriately, you're not going to make it. You know, your number one shelter in a winter survival situation is your dress, is your clothing. You know, if you don't have proper clothing, you're not going to make it. You know, if you have proper clothing, you can stay out here for extended periods of time, and you're not going to have to worry about getting cold. You're not going to have to worry about building fires and so on. You know, because your shelter is gonna be your clothing. You know. So just remember that your first line of shelter is going to be your clothing. You know, you can't make up for bad clothing by building shelters. You know, you're going to have good quality clothing if you're going to operate extended periods of time in this type of weather. So thanks for watching, and I'm going to make more videos related to winter survival. I'm going to talk about how you can remain stealthy in the winter time. I'm going to show you guys how you can hide in the snow. You can lay down in the snow if the snow is deep. Different things that you can do to minimize your signature in the winter time. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.